right, Town Council special meeting, May 14th, 2026, 6 p.m., Cape Charles Civic Center. Could I get a roll call, please?
Newman present.
Holloway present.
Buckholz present.
Buda present.
Grossman present.
Ashworth present.
Let it be known we've established a quorum. If we could all please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will go into public comments, if there are any.
Is that what our beach is gonna look like?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's the world view, right?
I don't want to be responsible for that.
Nobody has signed up.
All right, and nothing to be read?
Yeah, see the town.
All right. So, moving forward, tonight, we're going to be discussing the beachfront master plan. And Ricky, the floor is all yours.
Great, well, it's great to be back here. Hopefully you've seen some of it. There's a lot of text in there that I'd like to go over with
Libby,
y'all.
does he have a microphone?
Yes, that's right.
Sorry.
No, it's not.
It's the invisible. Well, the stand's there.
I know the stand is there, but there's no microphone on it.
That's all right.
Okay.
Just in case we have
Can everybody,
watchers.
is it on? Testing?
welcome.
Yep, sounds like it.
Okay.
All right, so I'll, hopefully you've seen the digital version. What we're going to walk through tonight is not every page out of there. It's got a lot of text, and some of it is kind of telling the story of how we got from the beginning to the end. There are some sections I hope the council will look at and give us comments about, particularly like acknowledgements, and there's a lot of like recap of the public engagement. It talks about some of the struggles we went through and how we rebounded and responded to those struggles. But this is a permanent document, so we want you to make sure you're comfortable with everything that's in it. First, we'll go over kind of the pretty pictures and make sure we've responded. The last time we met, we had shown the before and after. We feel like everything's been addressed. We've toned down colors. We've talked about that. I will address the first thing in the room that we've been waiting for. Unfortunately, we weren't successful on the RTA grant, but I will walk through some next steps potentially for you. That was a wild, it was a 4,000% increase in applicants. I think the cat got out of the bag on that funding source. It was too good, but that doesn't stop us, the town, from applying for it in the future. But it's part of the master plan. We did identify some funding sources and options, and we'll go through those tonight as well. And then the last thing I do have, it's a separate document. I was just saying, I think the town's got their money's worth out of the beach management plan when you see it. It's about 20 pages long. It's very detailed. The senior coastal geologist, he's been on paternity leave. I spoke with him this morning, so that's why I didn't email it. He needs to seal it, but he's reviewed it, has a few little things. But I'm going to share it with you tonight. Put it on the screen so you can see what all is in it. It's my recommendation that it's not really part of the beach master plan. It can be, in that section that we talk about the dune, we can reference it, but it's a 20-page standalone document, in my opinion, but it's y'all's document. So when we leave here today, you can tell me if you want it rolled into this or not. And then one thing, the way it was emailed, this was meant to be a booklet, front to back, open pages, and so that's why the pages are really wide. It's meant to be 11 by 17 if you print it out. Hopefully that's why we send it that way to you. Hopefully that was clear, but when it's printed, it makes sense. You open it, you got a facing pages, and so that's just a little formatting thing off the bat. I don't want to talk for the whole time, so if there's comments or questions as I go along, please let me know. So acknowledgements, again, we're not going to go through all of this, but I would welcome the council's opinions on these. You can provide them in a written format. You can tell me right now as we go through these. I'm not expecting the public to be able to read all this. It has been online. This is the actual page in the book. I know we started with the planning committee that was pulled together, which had different stakeholders, and then along the way it shifted into a full town council effort. So that's why we acknowledge both. We do have some new town council members that came on in midstream, and we have a new town manager in the midstream. So however you'd like to handle acknowledgements, just let me know. We don't have to have it. There are plenty of public documents that don't have acknowledgements. So just let me know how what the pleasure is of the group. So the way was formatted, and you have the full document, we've got the existing conditions and everything in there, but tonight I'm focusing on where the goals and then what was the outcome. We've seen the charter. This page in here talks about how that was a foundation at the beginning. It established the goals and the mission of the project, and then the project understanding. But I'll focus on the project goals, and I do feel like the council did a good job following those goals from the beginning and the end. Can get caught up here.
No, I'm trying to get to full page, and it doesn't want to do that.
Put 2 fingers and squeeze it in.
Yep, it's too small.
Well, yeah, you can read it.
So the project goals established early on were mainly to protect the beach. And what does that mean? That was we talked about that. A lot of discussion was around the dune, the size of the dune. We discussed the breakwaters, the appropriateness, how many breakwaters, what was the overall use. So what we settled on was at this stage, we are not adding breakwaters. We're not adding any additional stone structures. We're happy with the size and the look of that. A lot of the public comment was we didn't want more stone to look out there. We liked the open, and it didn't interfere with the kites, surfing and some of the other recreational activities. Through the public input in the initial goals, we did determine that there was a majority. It wasn't a clear, large majority, but the dunes did need to be addressed in their size. And so those recommendations are in the dune management. The cross section that's in there is appropriate. When we see the dune management, we did break it into 3 segments, and you'll see more of that. There's a little bit different direction on how to manage the north end, the middle end, and the southern end. So again, there's a lot of detail there. Promoting economic development, I know that again was a topic that came up. What is the right amount? We're not trying to turn this into Virginia Beach, but what's appropriate. And I think what we settled on was the Southern Plaza was the center of that, and then kind of leaving the other spaces more natural, with the exception of just adding the bathhouse at the northern end. We feel like that respects the main street of Cape Charles. We're not trying to take away from that, but providing that area for the food trucks, some shade structures, all meets that economic benefit without taking away from the downtown businesses. One of the main goals, I think, and I think what makes it most attractive to grant sources is that improving accessibility. We know that there's a lot of issues with the curb, just coming across Bay Avenue, the width of Bay Avenue, some of the curb ramps, and then once you're to there, having some accessible mats. I mean, they can really go anywhere, but right now we're proposing the one at the northern end, and then also coming off of the existing fishing pier. The recreational opportunities, I kind of hit on that a little bit. One thing we probably weren't planning, and I think might have been a nice side benefit of the project, is I don't want to really refer to it as the dog beach, but the small pocket beach that is right along the harbor. It is a separate kind of nice recreational space. It can be programmed differently than the rest of the beach. So I think that's nice. We scaled back the number of volleyball courts. I think at one point we were showing enough to have a full-blown tournament out there, and I think that got scaled back. But I do think it's a good compromise, and I think incorporating just simple things like the bike racks also promote that different modes of transportation and recreation getting to the beach. In the Southern Plaza, there is the storage building that can be used. It's a placeholder. This is a master plan. There's a lot of details to work out as this thing moves ahead in the years to come. But that storage building could be a rental place for kayaks, or so it could be for the a more robust lifeguard storage area or something like that. But there are opportunities. It's just how far the town wants to take those. And then all of it is about the existing infrastructure. The biggest one is the bathhouse, and I want to talk about that when we get to the grants. We've actually been successful with Gloucester County, their Gloucester Point Beach. We got that the same grant I'm going to talk about to replace their bathhouse. The downside is it's a 50-50 grant, but 50% of the cost is better than 100% of the cost. So that's something we can consider, but that's, hearing the public, that was the big desire, is you just need some of the, we don't need porta potties out there anymore, and the Eagle Scout project has outlived its service life, so as well as it was built. And the idea is, again, with that, is to flank both ends, leave the gazebo alone, and focus on the two northern and southern ends.
It's a pavilion.
But I'm sorry, but
Sorry, we're all going to mumble up here, and
no,
like
no,
we're
you're
trying
good,
to correct
and
ourselves and get to that
I
point.
knew to say that, and I knew that.
So we need to like a search and find and
Search and
replace.
find, yes. I know there's one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's several that say pavilion, so we're just a few. that-
Almost there. If that's all I have to fix, I'll be happy.
There you go.
As I mentioned, we can go in more in-depth on this community engagement summary. Again, the full document has documents of the responses, it's got graphics, but we did try to summarize the effort from the beginning to the end. It's up to the council how much you want to go in depth there. But there is a few public, I'm not sure if everybody was aware, obviously we did the online poll very early on. It went out with utility bills. That was the effort to see what the basic wants and desires were. It was a lot of multiple choice options, or select your top 5 things. We got those responses. We came back, and that's where the first iteration came from, and we overdid it. And then we scaled back, and there was obviously a public comment at pretty much all the town council meetings. But then we went from there, we launched the virtual meeting room. Still didn't quite hit home with everybody, just, maybe too high tech or not user friendly enough. And so then that's where we regrouped as a group, and I think it was a great effort by the town council in doing the in-person 2-day sessions. And I think that was obviously the most beneficial, because the citizens could talk to you guys, were explaining the project and not us. And I think that was really well received, and probably the big thing to kind of swing the pendulum back in the favor of the plan, and we still tweaked it from there and we got responses. So all of that's there, as I mentioned. These are some of the boards that were used. That website is still live, but there hadn't been activity on there. Few pictures, just to, if everybody remember, the town council hard at work. Here's a good one, but it was a fun 2 days, and I think it's worth documenting in this. So the final graphic, as you see on the screen, I was telling Rick, it's really long, so and skinny, so that's why it's on, like, meant to be on an open screen layout like that. And then we did do the blow-ups, but we feel like this responds to all the comments. I don't, how much detail do we want to go into piece by piece? I'm happy to zoom in, but I think.
I think at this point, we're good.
All right. Seeing if, what we called, yep, it's right there. Found it, the one spot, it says gazebo.
I've seen 3.
Three already.
Just so you know.
Well, we did say pavilion sometimes, right?
I
You
saw
did.
pavilion.
I did see
Yeah,
pavilion.
I did.
So, as we know, probably besides the dunes, the discussion on Bay Avenue was one of the major topics, and it's the biggest undertaking. What was the appropriate parking configuration? And we do have those older graphics. We have the models, so if you want to add them in the master plan, we can easily insert them. You know, where we studied, we tried to do the golf carts turn to do little mini parks, and then once we analyzed the parkings, that didn't work. We did look at putting the golf carts on the other side. Or cars facing in, and we were concerned about headlights in the houses. So we're showing the final, like, without those iterations. We can go back and add, this is what was looked at and why we didn't go that way, if the council would like that, because those graphics have been prepared.
The final you put in was the pull-in parking with golf cart spaces on the beach side, and then just parallel parking.
Yes, and that's what's on that overall plan, and then that's what's shown in the parking exhibit, which is part of the master plan. It shows it more zoomed in. We have oversized vehicular parking. They're 10 by 22, which accounts for, larger SUVs and trucks with the little hitches and trailer carts on the back. And then we've got the golf carts all head in, because when we started analyzing, you really weren't gaining a lot of spots by trying to do that parking court, and we couldn't account for the larger golf carts and all the different sizes and their turning radius. So that's why we went with what's here. Those spots can accommodate the 6 and 8 seaters, or the little two 4-seaters now. The original golf carts, before they started getting to be limousine-like.
Actual golf carts, right?
If it's not too much effort, I feel like that would be a helpful thing to include in an appendix, because, this is not something we're gonna act on next month, so if 10 years from now, somebody says, why don't we do it like this? And we've already gone down that path and thought it through and done the study and realized that maybe these were the reasons not to do it. I don't think that's a bad thing to have at your fingertips
Yeah.
to
Right.
shorten the process.
Sure, that makes sense. All right, we can add that in. So just typically, that was the cross-section we've seen, same as that plan view. The pavement sections, that's what I always point to, like that picture with the golf carts. I mean, those details we would like to see. I mean, as this thing gets built out, you have the opportunity to have the asphalt, but then have the parking and more of a decorative paver. Doesn't have to be red, it can be tan, grays, but that will help kind of make it not feel like all asphalt out there. And really, depending on what grants you go for, and well, really it should be no matter what, but looking at doing the parking and permeable pavement whenever possible to promote resiliency and sustainability. So the Southern Plaza there at Mason and Bay Avenue, the big change here, a lot less grass. We we've toned the color of the graphic down. It's intended to be pavers and then sand mixed for the ADA accessibility. The other thing we tried to bold this line a little bit more. That red dashed line is the existing edge of road.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you can see,
What page is that?
38.
Keep going.
Thank you.
If you look closely, you can see the old sidewalk. It's on there as well. It's a lighter dashed line, but we didn't want to kind of make the graphic too busy by having all these overlays, but I did think it was a benefit to kind of show that the difference of the footprint you're working on, because it really become, like we've been saying, it's a road diet.
Oh, that's the old, this is sidewalk up here. That's the road. Above it.
Sort of a standard food truck height versus the dune height. Would the food trucks be somewhat hidden by the dune?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because on the backside, it's gonna be 8 feet from the
yeah,
beach.
your beach side's always sloping down.
Yeah, you're gonna be, naturally, you're gonna be lower.
No, I'm just thinking, that will be a question people will say, don't want to stare at food trucks, so knowing that they are,
And when you see when I switch over to the dune management plan, we did, like I said, we have it in 3 segments. You could kind of treat each segment a little different. If that was a major concern, you could set the peak elevation of that dune a foot higher than the other. It would be a gradual thing. But it's a good question there.
So you'd be looking at the water anyway.
Correct.
Yeah, looking at the water, not looking back. So the love sign stays where it is. We have a soft landscape beach grasses. They're green, but they're probably gonna be more brown looking. But beach grasses around the love sign. People can still get close to it, but for ADA accessibility, we have the walkway there with a small setting around it. Number 2 shown on this is the restroom bathhouse. Again, I think this, it's a National Park Service grant, and I'll go into it, is a great opportunity. There's a couple things that you have to deed the property to say that it will forever be in recreational use, which I don't think you will ever change the use of that property. And there's a few steps to go through it, but like I said, Gloucester, they received 1.4 million to replace their bathhouse, which is right there when you come over the Coleman, right at the beach. Their problem is they've had flooding. It's flooded multiple times, so we're going up higher with theirs. We're raising and putting it on piles. It's going to have more of a I call it like the Nag's Head pile structure, boardwalk. They'll have a nice elevated view looking out.
What
but
grant was that?
I knew it's acronym. It's not a land and water conservation fund. It's in the back. It's in there,
Okay.
but I'll point it out.
Okay.
It is managed by DCR, but the funding source is from the National Park Service. But again, that one is a 50/50 grant, readily available. It's an underutilized grant. It was for Gloucester. We put together a small package last August, and by Christmas, they were telling us, yes, you're moving on, you've got the money, we need to see a schematic. So Gloucester, we developed a schematic floor plan and surveyed the property, and you have to provide a plat and a deed that says this, like, you wouldn't have to do it all, but this portion is forever gonna be in recreational public use.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see somewhere else has $2 million bathrooms, that's all.
yeah, and if it floods there, you know, I think we'll be in trouble.
Yes, if that one floods afterwards, because,
Yeah,
Oh, that's a problem.
that's
Yeah.
actually higher than the town.
Yeah. Ricky, I have a question. It's back a page on 37. The images there with the palm trees,
I said the same thing.
I just can't, I
I
can't.
said to my guys, I said, can we find pictures without palm trees?
Yes.
'Cause, like the beach, like.
It's very misleading.
I
and the-
know,
And the one at
it
the,
occurs a lot,
And you won't
and,
live.
and it,
No,
and
we're
people,
not-
well, I just think when people see that, they immediately go, that's not realistic.
I-
What are we paying for? That, it just,
That some of that.
they won't read anything, but they're gonna see those pictures.
I know, and yes.
So the first picture and the last picture in particular, 'cause
Okay.
we're not gonna have that kind of housing on the beach either, so like our
No,
houses
and this,
look like
I
real
mean,
houses.
yeah, I know people jump to that. I mean, the idea, nothing about the trees, it's about the types of boardwalks
Yes,
and pavements, but.
sure.
But I understand.
But they won't see any of that,
Yeah.
what you're trying to make a point of,
I'd rather
so.
just omit them.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't, then we just,
No, we can
Don't-
find,
okay.
we can find pictures without
Okay.
palm trees.
Would that be better,
Or
Kara?
AI may be able to just get rid of the trees and leave the pictures without the palm trees.
thank you.
Yeah. So just an updated perspective view of that. There it is again, because the incorrect word, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
pavilion there.
That word, yes,
Um,
it is.
The Palm Pavilion.
So, this is focused, I mean, it's called the plaza, but one of the, like, nice things too, it does highlight these raised intersections. And, we could probably, show that or put a call out right in the middle of that as I'm looking at it. But I think we've all talked about it, but the idea is as you're coming up Randolph on the sidewalks, you won't go down to go across the road and then come back up. It's straight across, convenient for pulling a beach buggy, somebody in a wheelchair, pushing a stroller. It really does make it more accessible. And then as you're driving along Bay Avenue, you will ramp up, you'll be level across through the intersection and then come back down. So it's not like speed bumps that are a pain. It's a gentle reminder to slow down and look for pedestrians. But the key there too, that it does need to be a different color. It needs to be a highly visible color there. That, the grass that's shown there, that can be sand. Do you want, I mean, I know we talked about it at the Southern Plaza, but, you are going to have grass along the sidewalks along Bay Avenue on the opposite side.
Yeah,
So,
the front grass is nice,
okay.
I think.
Which grass are you talking about?
Just the strip, the kind of
Yep.
right
Oh,
along
yeah,
the road.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. That says plantings bed, it doesn't say grass.
Yeah,
Here,
it's the previous one, it says
So-
plantings,
are you talking about grass on the,
So,
east-
they-
number 8.
we can take that 8 off, off because it doesn't match this rendering. I think this rendering is more appropriate, just having it
Okay.
natural.
Agreed.
Okay, great.
Just a more detailed look at Bay Avenue, the parking and just the kind of explaining the streets, the widths, all important. And this goes all the way through, talking about the maintenance strip as well. Now, I know we talked about not having too many trees. It does show a few trees, probably less than maybe 10 along the whole thing. We didn't want,
It reflects.
Red watch.
Sorry, his watch is trying to kill me.
oh,
It's like, like I'm a vampire and I'm kidding. So Ricky, on 41, there's a picture that says relocated love sign in plaza. We need to get rid of that.
oh, it's not on what I'm showing. But,
It's on the precedent images.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good catch.
So Jefferson Plaza, again, that was scaled back to just include the bathhouse, a few seats there, and then the ramp down, and onto the, Moby mat. And that's not shown all the way to the water's edge. You can build that as far as you want to take it out.
Yeah, that can just come up and down.
Yes.
Those ramps, yeah.
So, again, like I mentioned, we do have some of our analysts of the dunes within the master plan. I think one of the big things we talked about is the openings at each street, rotating them to be perpendicular to the prevailing wind direction. I think that's a big step to take. So my thought here again, and I'll show you the dune management plan, is to maybe we can add a reference in this page right here that says, through the master plan process, an updated dune, because you had a dune management plan. So this is really an updated dune management plan. Would become part of the master plan, and just, it can be an appendix
yeah.
to this.
Yep.
So let me, before I talk about grant funds, I'll go ahead and
The other one.
switch over to that.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, we just got that. 'Cause we never kept up with the number anyway.
No, they need to, they never did. That's the whole problem, why the dunes grew so damn much. Could you have that last
So, as I mentioned, this hadn't been shared yet, just,
didn't see it.
I know I got a little bit of time before the minutes go out, but Bryce Corlett, our senior coastal engineer, he's been on paternity leave, so I talked to him today, and he said he would review it next week, just before I send it, but it's a very detailed, technical report, probably, like I said, grown more than I thought we were going to provide, so I'm glad y'all are getting a good product here. It's very detailed, and it's broken into those, what he calls reach 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna just go through pieces of it, because I know it's probably really hard to see, but,
And does that correspond with the A, B, C on the roads? You've divided the road segments into A, B, and C. Is it the same divisions, do you know?
I don't know. I know that's his 3 reaches, and a lot of it relates to this offshore structures, because it's a different condition where you have that protection and where you don't. And the reach 1 has much tighter spacing with the smaller growing in the middle there. And then the two large breakwaters flanking Reach 2, and then obviously Reach 3 is very different. So you've seen some of this analysis, which I'm not qualified to even, speak to some of this. This is coastal engineering at its finest, but what you're going to get is there's an in-depth review about the jurisdiction. This big, very quick summary is, it's up to your local dune board, which has been, is it still active, or is it, yes. So it's your, because it's the man-made structure, and it's not, not regulated by these other agencies. But it does go into, if you get beyond the mean high water, but you're not planning on going out that far. I mean, we're talking about things beyond that. And so VMRC doesn't, they only regulate the submerged lands. So this is all part of it, just much more detail. The water levels, but the part that he's analyzed the wind directions, the mile per hours, all of this information, great reading, but what you care about is
Beach reading. Beach reading.
beach reading, yes.
Considering the beach is relatively new.
So, in the end, the goals just for the beach are to minimize the wind-blown sand across Bay Avenue. That's probably number one. Is that it's a maintenance issue, blowing into the roadway and then blowing into the private yards, and then slow down the encroachment as it moves. So be getting that more stable. The one that we decided, developing and maintaining a height that's significant enough for the wave analysis, but so that's how that was done. It was backed by science. I know that was a thing all along, was make sure this plan is backed by science. So that's where all that stuff is that I kind of sped through. That's the science behind it, but that is one of the goals, is that it's high enough but not too high. And then, as I mentioned earlier, refine the design and the maintenance so the walkthroughs are aligned more appropriately to limit that opportunity for the sands to blow through the straight openings. Removing invasive species, we know that's an issue, so that's one of the items discussed, and really promoting the native dune vegetation. And then, obviously, establish a reoccurring plan that can be done this month, this month, this month. You know what to do. And so I don't know, Ralph's not here tonight, but so Ralph has a plan to follow, assuming Ralph's still leading those efforts. Hopefully he hadn't gone anyway. So as you get into this, as I mentioned, like each reach is broken down. We've set the height elevation, NAV plus 11. We've got the slopes, 1 to 5 slope, a 10-foot top on the dune, and then a 1 to 3 on the back slope. So all of that is part of this plan, down to how many rows of sand fence, how tall the sand fence would be. So I think this is, hopefully it hits the mark, what y'all are looking for.
I mean, the main thing is, just like you said, is just the management of it.
Yeah, so that's what section 7 of this, that's all in here, is that for each reach, the distance offshore, so this is, he did talk about extending the breakwater, that's something that we did talk in the future, not adding a new structure, but you could look at extending that one, the southernmost structure, make it a little longer, would help you a little bit, but you don't have to take all the management strategies. You can pick and choose, but that is one of the ones that did stay. And then you're already doing this, but well, I know you're doing post nourishment surveys, but this is, the monitoring recommendation is doing, biannual inspections, which you're probably doing that more often. You're doing visual inspections frequently, but whether you document them with topographic surveys, you do have a local firm over here that does a very deep, we were impressed, like very detailed topographic survey, so you can look at that to keep a record of how things are moving, and if it's reducing your effort year over year, or if there's some things you need to reconsider. So I didn't want to show up here without this, but you will have this in your hands once Bryce seals it. But I'm hoping this is above and beyond what y'all were looking for.
Absolutely, it's great. Yeah, fantastic.
So with that said, last section is the funding opportunities. Which was the last section of the report. We looked at it, two of them are kind of lumped together. The Safe Routes for All and Build are both US DOT grants. And then the local, it's a much easier grant to obtain, is the CFPF grant, which is Community Flood Preparedness, which I'll go into detail. And then, I was right, it's the Land and Water Conservation Fund for MPS. It's so many acronyms.
Yeah.
But what this write-up really, this quick summary of this is, it's probably not a one-stop shop with grants. Like, if you want to start seeing some momentum, and maybe it's the Bathhouse First, that grant is a little less competitive. It's local, you're dealing with people at the state level, can get it a year, you can get your grant notification in place and really begin an effort. Now, the US DOT grants, much longer, start to finish, you could be 5 or 6 years before, from the time you apply to the time you're under construction, rebuilding the road. The CFPF money is, again, that's all state money. That is funded, it's another acronym, RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. Virginia was part of it, we left it, and now the current administration has brought us back into it. Not bring politics into it, but it does provide a really nice funding source. We just got $6 million for the town of Tappahannock to rebuild Prince Street right under Route 301. We're raising the road up there, got 2 breakwater structures and rebuilding their beach. And that is a simple grant process. It starts in the fall, and they were notified by February. The grant agreements will be in place by July 1, and you can start design. So
And that's the CFPF?
that's the Community Flood Preparedness Grant, yes, CFPF.
Match on that one?
There's a 20%, so let me go through these. So the Safe Routes for All, this one is probably the most competitive, but it's obviously bigger dollars. That's up to 25 million. This is a 2-phase one. You have to first, which I was going to talk to Harvey Specter up at AMPDC, not Specter, Harvey Spurlock, but you have to have a safety action plan in place, which I know there's one in place for Route 13, and so that's allowed them to get some money for some of these right turn lanes on 13 and some other projects. But so if this was something we wanted to pursue, you'd have to adopt an action plan, which would be basically like one more step in the master plan process, but it's much more detailed and focused on the roadway, specific to safety. You do have to document, accidents or near fatalities. I don't think you, fortunately, knock on wood, had any of those, but, it is, I mean, unfortunately, you score higher, the riskier it is. So that, it's out there, but that one may be a little bit more of a struggle.
Sounds like Food Line Light will get something like that.
That's, yeah. The higher risk projects get more of those. The other one, though, that is in a similar bucket, that we're seeing a lot more funding, and I had a graphic, I think I presented it to you, about 2018, this fund was running steady and then saw a huge jump in funding that went to it. We're into the billions of dollars that are going out. And it was called RAISE, the Middle Peninsula. We did a working waterfront project for them. Right now, Portsmouth, their High Street, they are rebuilding all of High Street with about a $20 million RAISE grant. The AMPDC, that 15-mile section of trail, is being funded with this same funding source. The really nice thing about this funding source is rural communities qualify for no match. It is you can apply for it and get up to $25 million for your project without match. But I will say the actual application process is a little bit more in depth, so it just costs a little more to apply for it. You have to do a cost benefit analysis, which you would score well because you have environmental benefits, you have health and safety benefits, you have economic benefits, you check all the boxes for this. I'm just saying it's a little higher cost. We have been working, it's a lady by Denise Nelson, she's a sole practitioner. She's worked with the Middle Peninsula Planning District Commission and just been a contract, and we've worked with her to apply for a couple of these, and that's her specialty, just writing grants. And so she's somebody that I can put the town in. We would like to be involved, but she would lead that actual grant writing side and help you guys, and she's local. As one person, I can give you another name as well that we've worked with, but if for a grant this size, you probably want to bring in somebody like that. The Virginia Community Flood Preparedness Fund, the CFPF, short, that's a mouthful, so CFPF, that's a simpler grant process. You don't have to go into the cost, the BCA, the benefit cost analysis. It's something we can write. And the Tappahannock one, they were already utilizing Denise, so we kind of co-wrote that one together with her. But that was last year we got Tappahannock and Hampton, City of Hampton also got one. But you can look, I can send you it's very easy to find. They're on round 6 of those. They've been going through, you can go on the DCR website and look at all the previous projects. There's planning projects. There's actually staff augmentation or capacity. So if the town decided to bring on somebody to manage the role, you can actually apply for money to offset that cost of that employee. Some of the localities use that as a capacity, staff capacity. And then there's the implementation. So all of those, you can go and look at towns across Virginia are accessing these funds. And they range from 250,000, that was the one, Gloucester. We got them, we had already started with the bathhouse, but they really needed to address the road coming in. It floods. We're gonna raise the bathhouse out, and everything else is still gonna flood. And so we went to them and said it would be really good for you to do a resiliency plan for the whole boat ramp road, all of it. And so they got 250,000 and no match to survey the whole thing, do more refined engineering plans, and then that will set them up for hopefully a project to replace the boat docks, the seawall, and raise the road up for them. So there's scales, like I said, 250 up to 7 million. You're not gonna get the whole, that fund is not gonna pay for the whole project. But that is a one that you could look at. You could come in and say, we're gonna use that to replace the boardwalk, do some ramps, and leave the road down at a lower elevation, and then come in later and raise the road up, redo all the parking configurations. There's some phasing that you could do with that, and you may be able, when you do that, you could lump in that maintenance strip in the dune reconstruction. That could be your phase one project using the CFPF money. So the last one, as I've mentioned many times already now, so it's the Land and Water Conservation Fund for the bathhouse. There's not a limit on how many times you go after it. Again, it's not a heavily accessed fund. So, you know, they're looking for good projects. So it could be you look at the Southern Plaza first and then look at the northern smaller bathhouse later. But the only downside of this one is it is only a 50% grant. And you have to deed that property in perpetuity for public recreational use. So those are kind of the recommendations that we're moving forward with, and open it to any questions on those or any of it.
I know you said earlier that the reason that we didn't succeed in that other grant is just because they had, what, a 4,000% increase in applicants. Is there a general environment right now that all this grant money is dried up and more difficult than ever to get?
No, I mean, it's, again, the CFPF re-entering that fund is funded by the data centers and the Dominion Energy. It's funded by us. I mean, it's on your Dominion bill, or y'all aren't Dominion over here, but
I think.
the rest of Virginia is.
Yeah.
So that money is not going anywhere now that we're back into Reggie. That's one that while this current administration is in Richmond, you should really look at that. Because all it takes is the next governor to take us out of it, and then those funds go away.
I believe A&N's, their rates are going up 7% because they buy their energy from Dominion.
So I try not to get into the politics of it. It's
So
whether,
we're gonna feel Dominion's going up over there. It's going
but
up over
it
there.
is a good fund that it funds a lot of good resiliency projects across the state. I think the best way to really look at it is going to the website, and you can look at the number of projects.
This one in particular, I think, would be a good one to bring the county in on as the part of that 50%. This is a great way to tap into some of those resources, I think, that we've been talking about.
If you can see this, I'll make it as big as possible. These are capacity buildings, so that's staff. Efforts doing the resilience plans, and then this was all just round 6, then studies, Town of Abington. It's been a big shift, obviously with the flooding that occurred with the hurricane in Southwest Virginia. There has been a shift of funding a lot of stuff in Southwest Virginia, but again, we Tappahannock, Hampton, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, they're all tapping into this. James City County. But you can see the scales. These are all just studies. This, if you decided to go that route, you could apply to do all the engineering, the next phase of construction engineering and work out all those details if you wanted to kind of do two-phase, or you could go straight to the projects. This Sandy Bottom is one that we wrote with the city of Hampton, and that is a project, a resiliency project, taking water from neighborhood floodings and creating what's called a sponge park, which is a European term, but it's taking, cleaning stormwater, basically making wetlands. And yeah, there's the Tappahannock one. But yeah, take a look at these. The Army Corps got a very large one. But this is round 6. So there's also if you go back on here, the previous grant rounds, you can see grant 4 through 5. I mean, some of these are getting older, but you can look at some of these resilience. All of them are resilience based, but what you're proposing is very much in that same realm. So those are probably your first 2 next steps, and you can use, if you decided to go the planning route with this, you could use that planning money to apply for the RAISE grant. It's just how long do you want to do something more immediate, which could just be the bathhouse, and kind of let other things go, or do you want to be a little more aggressive? Do you need to build up in your capital budget the match for some of these? So there's smaller things you can work on as you start putting reserves away to account for the match. And that's kind of talked about in the master plan. That last funding segment is starting to budget for the match. So we developed some high-level estimates that were part of the RTA grant. We didn't put them in the master plan document. We can go back and put that in there. That's up to the council whether you want that. I mean, whatever numbers we put in now are going to be obsolete in next year, the year after. So that's the risk of, somebody picking this thing up and saying, oh, well, they said it's going to be $2 million, but that was in $26. So.
Yeah, but at the same time, for me, it gives you a ballpark of.
Yeah, and so we can do that for sure,
You
so.
can put all the cautions that you want associated with it, but I think it's helpful to have.
We want that as an appendix.
Let's say the economy crashes and you get it for $1 million. Oh, bargain.
You betting on that?
No.
No.
Happens every once in a while. 2008.
Any other,
Well, thank you.
covered everything?
I believe it. So, yeah.
So
So-
just to recap, you'll change all of the areas where it says gazebo, right, Tammy?
Yeah.
I have some
Make sure
page,
we-
I have some
we get
page
that.
numbers if you need it.
And then you're gonna add some, or amend some of the pictures, getting out the palm
Palms.
trees,
And 2 appendixes.
and adding some appendix. We definitely want the dune management plan that you guys have worked on. I think that's.
As a
Very
appendix, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, correct.
And then in the very back too, I think giving us guidance of, if we were to go after that grant, explaining how that money can be used for a project. You know,
Okay.
Like saying, if we would have got the RTA grant, how would that have been spent? I think it helps us plan of going, okay, I see, 2 million would go towards engineering and the planning of that so that we can, so it shows us in phases of how we would move that project forward.
Okay. And the other one is I'm gonna add in the old parking studies.
Yes.
Do you want another week for y'all to provide any written comments to us on?
Nope.
We do not.
You're good with the acknowledgements?
We're good.
No people need to be added.
Nope.
The
If you can
community
make my
engage, the
name-
community
if you can make my
engagement.
name a little bigger.
I was gonna say, if you want to bold mine and underline it, that's fine.
So you're the one responsible for this whole
Yeah, I
thing?
don't want to take that.
But you want to be removed from it.
So we ready to move? I have a
We are.
motion if we're ready to move into discussion. I move to approve the final beachfront master plan, including the appendices we just recently discussed, as presented, and then for council to schedule a work session to determine beach master plan next steps, priorities, and grant funding.
Second?
Discussion.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I support, but I think you're gonna struggle coming to a work session with this magnitude of issues. I don't know if you'd prefer a subcommittee to kind of noodle through that to bring something to the table. It's an alternative, that's all I'm saying. It's
Instead of
what
taking
you've
it
been-
all on at once.
Yeah, what you've just heard with regards to funding and all the different sources and what it can cover and, you know, I don't, it's one thing to say, here's how would we,
Could we
Like-
come to a work session to identify maybe our phases or three, a start and then, and
Our
then
priorities.
come out specifically with a committee to work through
Agree.
the steps, like, but maybe to identify what are our top three things we want to even focus on. That's where I was thinking priority, I don't know, but I agree, it's a lot of work.
yeah, and
To
to me,
dig
a
deep.
capacity grant is gonna be one of the first things I propose, is
Mm-hmm.
the expertise needing to be brought to the table to
Yeah,
eat the elephant here.
Except don't we know what we want to focus on right away? I mean, I feel like we even just talked about that in our own budget meeting and said, you know, there are certain things we know, bathroom right away. We
Dunes.
cannot keep, and the dunes, cannot keep, and the promenade that we said it's about to, you know, fall, cave in on itself. I mean, we kind of know those things, and I just worry if we start talking about a committee to go through all this, we're just prolonging the inevitable as opposed to getting to work on solving some of these problems. Death by committee.
If I can add, I mean, so the bathhouse, August, that's when that grant would open. CFPF is September, so that could be your seawall promenade. So that's your timeline you have between now and then to figure out if you're gonna bring somebody in to help you write it.
right, that's what I
bring them
guess
on
I was
board,
thinking.
And then say, those are the
Yeah.
first two grants we're gonna go after.
So knowing our priorities, putting
Right.
a work session together with those three
With that,
projects
so those,
in
let's
mind.
say,
Yeah.
I
with
think
the
we do
master
agree,
beach
but
plan.
then what are our steps forward, kind of, and what is our capacity to move
Yeah.
forward on a grant that's due in August, opens in August and opens in September? And do those two grants meet our needs of our priorities? I mean, I don't think it has to be forever, but I think a meeting, but I think it would give us some chunks of a plan.
I think one meeting to just discuss the basics of it, given our current staffing constraints and
Yeah,
a lot of factors. Not that we need to get lost in
right.
a whole another rabbit
But putting
hole.
him in those timelines to where he said August
Yeah.
is the first one,
Yeah.
we'll put that as a
Right.
priority
Phase
number
one, you know.
Try to get some money and let's go.
Yeah,
And I think it's important that the public understands that our adoption of this plan is not
yes,
approval of going out and starting this project next year or the year after. It's the
Right.
approval of a conceptual idea,
yes, thank you.
and it's not, they aren't architectural design plans, they're not engineering plans. They're like, hey, this is a thing we can envision at some point down the road, and we take one more step closer to it.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Not hearing any more discussion, all in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank y'all.
Yep.
Are y'all adjourned? You have other business?
Nope, we have other business.
Okay, well,
Hey, Ricky, real quick, when, we'll talk, and I think what would be helpful is to get a grid, a guidelines of showing which grant, when it needs, and what that grant would be. Just something real simple that we can take into the meeting of showing which ones we're looking at.
Right.
And what it could actually cover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I can add that to this
I agree.
sheet here, just deadlines.
that would be
and
helpful.
Just a table.
That would be great.
Thank you.
And I will be on the shore a lot, working on a trail in the next year and a half. So anytime
good.
anyone wants, me to stop in, please just let me know.
What trail are you
Absolutely.
working on?
We're hopefully signing the contract next week to start Bird's Nest to Melfa,
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Oh, for the
nice.
rail trail.
rail the trail.
That's
Oh,
fabulous.
awesome.
Yeah, because the other one from Sheridan to,
Sheraton to Bird's Nest
It's already been
is going to be going to bid this fall.
Yeah.
And then we are already doing, Melfa to Only, which is the 4 point,
That's
well, it's
fantastic.
Parkway.
it's so funny they got,
You just got to do the middle part.
they're just like leapfrogging all over the place.
Well, it
Well, it's
was
different
intentional.
grants.
When we did, so it was somewhat intentional to leave the gap because it makes it more attractive for funding.
Yes.
And so it's all about the grant, so the two sections now are smart scale because they scored well because it's right turn lanes and with the trail. And then because we have that 15-mile gap, it made it attractive for the raise grant, so.
Is that that, where's that smart, isn't that up, where's that up in, Melfa?
So the smart, well, all of it is,
Smart
the next two sections are both smart scale applications. They were both, each county, because the localities apply for them separately. So yeah, the Sheraton to Bird's Nest is one smart scale grant. And then it's actually Parkway, right at the community college. That's where the break is, goes
Yeah.
from there up to Melfa. So the only part that's not funded is there's a little piece in Parksley that's funded through a small grant. But really,
Parsley to Hallwood, right?
yeah, but it doesn't go all the way, it's just a little teeny.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Our little piece right here,
so,
coming up from
but yes,
the bridge.
I won't be a stranger.
Great, congrats.
All right, well,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much. That was fabulous.
Let me know how I can pay you. We're happy to support it.
Thank you.
So,
All right, moving on. Order of business, we're gonna now appointment of zoning administrator and subdivision agent.
Yes. Yes, so it's a
To you.
formality.
Yes, sir.
Our code does allow when we don't have a planner so that we can continue operations. And I have been a zoning administrator, subdivision agent many times before. So we want to make sure we keep things going. And we are also going to be starting to work on our temporary plan and our long-term plan. And once a long-term plan comes in, then we will reappoint that person when they get here. So it's to fill in the gap.
Well, I will just voice my opinion like I did to you at your office. You need that to be sooner than later.
Yeah,
Get it off your plate.
Yes, yeah,
agreed, we've got a lot to do.
we're on it already.
Okay,
We've been working all week
just
on it.
wanted to put it on the record. All right, do you have any other comments? No?
What do we need to
Oh, do we need to vote on it?
Yeah, we have to,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Rick Caruglian as our zoning administrator and subdivision agent.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Now moving on. No comments?
No comments.
Council? Any comments this evening?
I have a couple
Go right ahead.
announcements. Just reminding the public, hopefully, and maybe all of us can get it out in our Facebook pages and things, of the deadline to submit intent to run for council and mayor. if That's the case, June 12th.
Correct.
And I'm going to grab it from the municipal page and post it, share it on my Facebook page. But again, I'd encourage everybody to do that. And if you're not already having those conversations with people, we need to all be working on that. Chamberfest is this weekend, and tomorrow night kicks off 5 to 8 with a band, and then Saturday 3 to 8. And it's also Art Walk for the Rotary is sponsoring for Saturday and Sunday. So it's a big weekend and a big wedding going on in town. So there's a lot happening.
Yes, indeed.
I just wanted to share that last night, for the second time in 1 week, Cape Charles was featured in the Jeopardy question.
Yes, it was, and no one got the question.
And nobody
correct.
knew the answer, so there's hope for people who don't want anybody, more people to come.
Oh, so the second time, I saw the first time.
Last night it was again,
Last night,
Man.
from Cape Charles to Annapolis.
to Annapolis.
Oh,
Nobody
What's the
knew the
name of the
Chesapeake
bay?
Bay.
No?
They did not, well, it was Celebrity Jeopardy,
Yeah.
so.
oh, yeah. I love it
Sorry.
when they say it as like Chesapeake Bay, as the, not the Chesapeake Bay. It's like,
Right.
it's a town,
Yeah.
the Chesapeake Bay. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
Anybody else? All right, a couple of announcements. May 21st, Town Council regular meeting. May 25th, Town office is closed for Memorial Day. June 4th, first day before the best day, June 5th, my birthday. Town Council public hearing on fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. June 18th, Town Council regular meeting. June 19th through the 21st, Sailfest 250. Please get it out there, like our pages, share our pages. Everybody listening, please help us out. Let's make this huge. And on that, could I get a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.